Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
RoadToRuta.com. It is the 10th of January, 2025. 10 more days until Trump gets in. Chaos everywhere. I don't think the chaos will stop if and when the inauguration happens, how it happens, all that. We're seeing the battles, the LA fires. I can't talk about this on YouTube, but go check out the private road. I talk about everything I can't talk about on YouTube. I do believe that YouTube will change its ways. That's why I try to stay on YouTube. A lot of my friends are gone. As a matter of fact, I just had a discussion with Dave at the X22 Report, which will be posted on the public road at Road to Ruta and on his site. And we discuss the transition from the old unbacked fiat monetary system to something new. And we go down deep on this one. It's not just keep this in your mind. There's no XRP, there's no NESRA, GESRA, or quantum financial system, or any of the other hundreds of, the Iraqi dinar system. All those they just won't work. Yeah, there's some people who try to get them, make them happen. That's a problem. People are involved. The future system won't be decided upon. No one will trust anybody. It can't be decided upon. It will just be there and available for us if we choose to use it, especially in the United States. We're going to return to gold and silver. Everything's been prepared for that for the past 100 years. Go check that out at the private road, roadtoruta.com. We're currently giving away, what are we giving away? 5 Theta, 50 T-Fuel, and 500 T-Drop loaded on a paper wallet. You don't even have to know how to use cryptos. For every 1-year subscription, go check out the subscribe today button. Also got a message from Andy Schectman over at Miles Franklin. He said, hey, I got a whole bunch of pre-65 coinage in stock for Road to Ruta people, followers. I'll give it to you for $1.69, $1.69 over spot. So go buy out Andy Schectman's inventory of pre-1965 silver coinage. That's my favorite. It is my favorite. It always has, well, not always. Since at least 2007, when I figured out what was going on at the Federal Reserve and the U.S. Mint, that we are planning to go back to a U.S. Gold and silver standard. Those coins are already legally, there's no deciders whether or not U.S. silver coinage is legal or not. The question will be, is the Federal Reserve note legal? Which it won't be. But yeah, that will be taken care of with the derivative pop of $3 quadrillion. We'll take out every bank. So you're going to want your physical silver in your own possession. I also love the Silver Eagles. It's kind of the way they're setting that up. Anyway, I can't say it. I really can't say it on YouTube right now, and the reason is that the censorship is ridiculous. All my friends have been kicked off, but I want to stay on YouTube. I say everything I need to say on the private road at roadtoruta.com, but I want to stay on YouTube because I think it'll be kind of like Twitter turning into X. All of a sudden, free speech will come back to YouTube, probably during the Trump administration. So I want to have kind of a base layer of followers there. And because I think a lot of people will come back. YouTube's such a gigantic platform. It is the largest video sharing platform on the planet by far. And I get bravo to everybody who got kicked off YouTube and went on to Rumble or BitChute and all that. And they're doing great work over there, and they can say whatever they want. They used to be able to do that on YouTube. They all got kicked off of YouTube because the deep state leftist Democrats couldn't have the truth being told, especially during COVID. So I'm going to stay on as long as I can. So I'm going to talk about silver, gold, and cryptos for the most part on this channel. Private road, you get everything else. All right. Again, Miles Franklin in inventory right now. If you say, hey, Bix sent me or Road to Ruta sent me, they'll give you $1.69 over spot. He goes, I don't know how long. This is as long as the inventory lasts. I don't know how long it's going to last. To get in touch with Miles Franklin, send him an email, info@milesfranklin.com, or call him at 952-929-7006. Don't order online. You order online, you're going to pay the maximum price. Give them a call or send them a email, info@milesfranklin.com. It's just like everybody else. If you see a real cheap price for silver, it's probably they're trying to sucker you in to become a customer. Not sucker you in, but people will do specials where they lose money on their special just to get the customer. And then later they end up charging them much higher rates. Andy Schectman's a good guy. My take is if you order now, you can get it before the inauguration. I don't know when the banks are going to collapse. The inauguration weekend is a 3-day weekend. That's what the FDIC has been waiting for. I don't think the FDIC has any clue about how to deal with the collapse of the derivative bubble. But they know there are a couple hundred banks that need a bailout as soon as possible. So hang on to your hats, my friends. It's crazy. Let's take a look at silver. The U.S. Mint has not produced one single silver eagle in 2025. Have they been shut down? What the hell's going on? January has historically always been the biggest month ever for the United States Mint, bar none. I don't think there is a month in the 35-year history of the Silver Eagle program. I don't think. Is it 35? No, it's not. It's 80 since 86, 87. So what is that? 20, 30, more than that. I don't think there has been a single year where January wasn't the biggest month. And 10 days into January in 2025, Ventures Gibson and her band of cronies has not produced one silver eagle. Not one. And not sold one. Right here, bullion sales. Sales, now let's just read this. I know if you followed me, you know this. But sales totals by month are updated every weekday by 5 p.m. Eastern. So here we are. Total sales by month for 2024. January. Not even listed. Not even listed. What am I doing wrong? It's 2024. It should be 2025. There is no 2025. Oh, it's just another glitch. 4,000 glitches at the U.S. Mint? At some point, you got to say all these glitches or coincidences are fucking bullshit. The U.S. Mint is purposely keeping silver eagles out of your hands. Of course we know why. One, they have a massive derivative short position controlled by HSBC, by the way. I think the HSBC still runs their derivative book. Go to roadtoroot.com. This is for everybody. The very first page on the public road, you scroll down, you will hear my over 1 hour interview with the head of Silver Eagle sales, a guy named Jack Sermon, who'd been there since the 80s. Jack knew his shit. And he was extremely livid that the United States Mint it went from number one mint in the world to the second producing mint behind the Canadian Mint. Yeah. Canadian Mint sells more than we do of their maple leaf, silver maple leaf. Why? Because the U.S. refuses to obey the law. And Jack Sermon, I broke him down. I love the guy. I don't think he's there anymore. He might have been laid off. He was like 75 years old. He was ready to go anyway. I think this is like the confessions of a retiring general. It's a 3-part discussion I go through. At the beginning, how did I get this interview with him, you ask? I called customer service. I called customer service at the U.S. Mint, and I talked to the woman who was a customer service agent. I was really nice. I'm like, hey, I'm trying to figure out what's going on with the Silver Eagle program. You guys aren't making coins to meet demand like the law says. I'm just wondering what's going on? I mean, everybody wants to buy them. That's why the premiums are so high. Why can't you guys make them? And she was like him and Han. She goes, let me see if I can find out a better answer for your question. I'll have someone get back to you. And I'm in Arizona. I think it was a show or something, doing something in Arizona. I get this call on my cell phone while I think I was live online, and I ended up recording everything. And it was Jack Sermon, the head of Silver Eagle sales. And I'm going, first I I didn't butter them up, but I was like, hey, yeah, we're just trying to, the silver stacking public's trying to understand what's wrong with the mint, because clearly the law says you guys have to provide silver eagles to meet demand, and yet for years you've been putting everybody on quote allocation, and he at the beginning he was talking about here's how, why, and how, and it grew so much for a while, and then we have to make a profit. I said, no, you don't. It's illegal for the U.S. Mint to make a profit on silver eagles, and that's written into the law. It will be sold at cost, is written into the law, but they make massive amounts on the gold eagles. He said, listen to the interview. He lists 5 things that are completely against the law, and he knows it, and he says it. He doesn't specifically say that Ventures Gibson and the Biden crowd was doing it, but he said he was mandated to sell as little silver eagles as possible, as you can get away with, is what he said. Go check out the discussion at roadtoroot.com. All right. So yeah, the mint, who knows? They might come out and say, oh yeah, we had a glitch and blah, blah, blah. By the way, they changed the website. It's completely, whoever changed his website really screwed with the bullion sales area. It's a mess. It was never great, but now it's a complete mess. And I think they did it on purpose. Anyway, what's going on with silver right now? We got, it's holding above the moving averages, the 200-day moving average. Of course, this is what the game they play. Right under here was very painful from when it hit below the 100-day moving average on December 16th all the way to January 6th. That was the pain for the derivative manipulators, because that's when India loads up. I have no doubt that India will do over 300 million ounces, the largest ever. They did 300 million once. I think it's going to be over 300 million ounces of silver imports into India. And you might be saying, how the hell did they get 300 million ounces? It's very easy. You buy it on the COMEX, you deliver it at the LBMA, and then you ship it from wherever the LBMA ships from right into India. And they record it on their data. I love governments that try to hide what's going on in certain commodities and in obviously solar, the amount of silver used in solar panels, but at the same time, they have to report certain things because you got, the do-gooders at the customs area saying, we're going to report the exact numbers that we get, and that's our job. They aren't clued into that. People now look deeper and deeper into silver manipulation, physical silver, imports and exports. This is something that Jeffrey Christian of CPM Group couldn't figure out if you paid him. Same with Mike Dorenzo of the Silver Institute. But under the hood, we see India, every time there's a drop below the 100-day moving average back here, massive silver was imported. This was 40 million in here. At the beginning of the year, in January, February, I think it was over 120 million ounces in the first 3 months. I have that number. I keep track of this. By the way, 5 more days and we get to find out what happened in December, which will give us our total. Right now we stand at 267 million ounces of physical silver imported by India. That's crazy. But in the first 3 months of last year, 2024, there was 130 million ounces that were imported. And you see it's right here. It's under both moving averages for 3 months. So if you move to here, I think if December got under the moving averages, so they had half a month, my take is they'll do the same thing they did, or worse, for the bad guys right in here in the September number, which was, August was 46 million, so September, so let's see, August from right here, you can see this dive down, 46 million. All we need is 30 million to get over 300. And look at this. This is under the 200-day moving average for the end of December. I think the end of December was the death knell for physical silver. The shorters, the people who can't find enough physical silver. I think, my guess, here's my official guess, and I gave this on the private road a week ago. I think it's going to be 50 million ounces imported by India in the last 2 weeks of December. Now, Here we are in January. It's still below the moving averages, and boom, it popped up above it on the 6th. So if they get it up above the 100-day moving average, we're talking about maybe 30 million ounces. If they keep it below both of these, we're talking 100, 200 million ounces more in January. If it stays below, especially if it stays below the 200-day moving average, which is currently $29.93, that's a floor, my friends. That's a floor. I'm not saying they can't slam it down below for a brief amount of time, but if you're investing in physical silver right now, you have floor type of mentality, and if you can hang on to it, obviously, yeah, they can slam the price to negative $40 like they did with oil, but it literally lasts. It's instantaneous. It's a derivative wipeout. Obviously, the price jumps right back up because people start buying the real thing, physical, and getting it in their own possession. I mean, why not follow what the most criminal organization in the world did, J.P. Morgan? What did they get busted for? For shorting the COMEX and going long physical silver back from 2008 to 2014. Yes, J.P. Morgan is still the custodian of SLV, of the largest silver hoard in the world, even though they got busted by the last Trump administration for the most egregious market manipulation seen in human history. Got fined in commodity history, obviously. Got fined $920 million and then made $1 billion that same month. That's the kind of criminality these people at JP Morgan can do. Don't forget who's the largest U.S. bank derivative holder in the world. It is JP Morgan. $50 trillion. $50 trillion in derivatives. They will go first. I think JP Morgan is being set up to be the fall guy for the entire global monetary system. Them and HSBC, who is the silver short. Now, if you look at what's going on right now, volumes are lower, but we do have, look at that, exchange for physical. This is a physical delivery of 1,655 contracts, which is about 8 million ounces just yesterday. Harvey Organ does a great job keeping track of this stuff. Last year, January 2024, the total was 1.36 billion, with a B, billion ounces of silver were bought on the COMEX and sent to the LBMA for delivery. That's the largest in history. It is not stopping. It is not slowing down. Yes, solar panels came in right around 600 gigawatts, just like I said. And yes, the Metals Focus and the Silver Institute will lie and say, oh, yeah, it's only 220 million ounces was used in solar panels for physical silver. I'm like, no, it's at least double that. I think it's 450 right now. And I've argued this with those guys, and they don't care what you think. They don't care what the numbers say. They don't care what history says either. They changed the past history to make it look more palatable to humanity. They are criminals. There's criminals everywhere in the financial system. That's why you got to get out of it. Get your assets in your own possession. Get ready for even more chaos than we're seeing right now. All right, let's talk about Theta and Theta Fuel. Obviously, Theta's way undervalued. Theta Fuel way undervalued for what it does. Theta is no longer, when Theta went to $15, it was mainly a way to get cheaper content delivery network stuff delivered. CDN stuff, Netflix has to distribute videos throughout the city. It's very costly. They hire companies to do that. Theta Labs invented a way to do it by sharing data. And it also expands broadband for cities and things like that because you're sharing everybody's excess capacity. Somewhere between then, when it was $15, it gets slammed down with the last crypto slam. Between then and now that's like child's play doing that. They've already perfected that, and people are using that and paying in T-Fuel to use it. Now they've figured out, hey, not only can we share our broadband and create content delivery networks, we can share hard drives. We can share computing power. We can share NVIDIA chips that have excess capacity, and we've built this network This could cover all of AI. So who partnered with them? Samsung, Sony, and then came on Google, Amazon, and Azure, which is Microsoft, as far as cloud storage. And then we got all these partners. All these partners are coming in saying, oh my God, your AI solution is hell of a lot cheaper. As a matter of fact, it is 50 to 70% cheaper than what they're paying. So all these universities that don't have the budget, when you think about how new technologies are taught, I mean, people have to learn this shit. They're taught in the universities. If they are taught on Theta, by the way, the Theta solution, wow, they're going into their new job. Whoever's taking the class, they're going into their new job in AI saying, hey, I can cut your costs by 50% with your AI work that you do, or 70% using the Theta network. And people say, what's the Theta network? Right? It's crazy. So Theta is joining up with all these universities, mostly Asian, but when they're waiting for Trump to get in and the new crypto rules to be passed, or at least the Trump administration is going to be very pro-crypto. One of the number one things that Theta has on their plate for 2025 is to get on a U.S. exchange. Shocking. I'm so shocked that they haven't been on a U.S. exchange. But they were playing it by the book. They did an ICO. They said, hey, until the United States figures out what cryptos are, we can't go in there without getting busted. And all our partners are huge names. Samsung, Sony, Amazon, Google, you name it. They are signing up one of the major Premier League soccer teams coming this year, too. They announced that. But as soon as Theta gets on Coinbase, or probably Coinbase, but it could also be on Kraken, which is a U.S. exchange, and Gemini, U.S. exchange, I think all hell breaks loose. Doubling, tripling, quadrupling, because it's way undervalued now. Now, having said that, here's something I think if you have Theta or Theta Fuel, you need to keep an eye on the Theta to Theta Fuel ratio. They are mutually dependent upon each other. Theta doesn't work without Theta Fuel. Theta Fuel doesn't work without Theta. They are absolutely dependent upon each other. They are created at I think it's 6-1 right now. 6 point something. There's 1 billion Theta tokens. There will always be 1 billion Theta tokens. There's 6 point something billion T Fuel. You would think if they were equally valued, they would be a 6-1 ratio. Well, right now they're 31.4-1. And this has, in the last week, if you look at what's going on, I think people who own Theta are starting to figure out, holy shit. And here's why. Theta Fuel makes massively more, a bigger return on staking. 7%, around 6 to 7%. And if you use the bonus, the booster node as it's called, you can get a lot more than that. And that's growing. Not a lot yet, but it literally, as everybody gets added, more and more people use the system. They need T-Fuel to pay for it. There are going to be more and more people. I think the silver to gold ratio is extreme in this area. Obviously, silver is way undervalued compared to gold. T-Fuel, I believe, is way undervalued compared to Theta. So where should that number be? I think people have started to figure out, holy shit, if I run a booster node, I can make 9-10% right now, and that's just growing. It's just been growing ever since. I got in because it was, we were looking at 25% depending on utilization. I think that gets there in 2025, which would be huge. You're making 25% more T-Fuel, and you're getting paid in T-Fuel. So people will be literally using T-Fuel and staking T-Fuel, and the returns will be great because it's a real business also. There's a purpose for these tokens. The use case for Theta is better than any use case probably other than Bitcoin. And Bitcoin, the only use case for Bitcoin is the store of value now. The core developers have pretty much made sure of that. So yeah, should you swap your Theta for T-Fuel? I think people are. You look at the last 7 days, Theta's down 11%, T Fuel's up 2.79%. I think that's 100%. People who know what theta is saying, I had 50-50 theta and T Fuel. I'm going to jump over to T Fuel and try to run one of the booster nodes and make 8, 9, 10% moving up over time instead of theta, which, I mean, theta is great, but it's just the governance token of the theta blockchain. So as people understand theta, they'll go, holy shit, T Fuel's the real money of theta. And T Fuel's what the universities are going to need if they want to run the AI programs, which they are now. So I do see, I know theta's going to do great. It's going to go into the thousands, like Michelle Whitedove said. But I think T Fuel, solely based on, not solely, but even if you work it out in your head, T Fuel's more useful. Yes, theta is a governance token for probably the best blockchain out there. It's fast, it's secure, and it's always up and running. I've transferred so much on the Theta network into these little the paper wallets right here. This is an empty paper wallet. I'm gonna, by the way, don't scan this because I'm gonna rip it up right now. And that's a ERC20 token wallet that holds the Theta that we send you for the private road subscriptions. See, I'm ripping it up. So people keep trying to scan when I hold up something. I wouldn't that be that dumb. I'm not going to show anybody my private address. By the way, all you crypto holders, don't fall for any of the scams. As cryptos go up, more and more scammers come out. Oh, Bix Weir, you sent me an email saying to give me the private key. Just click here. Don't do it. You and your tokens will be soon parted if you fall for any of this bullshit. And a lot of it looks really good. It's weird how you can send an email looking exactly like a company or an email address, and then you don't see there's a little space missing or a little dash or a dot that is stuck in there, or they spell the name wrong and shit like that, and people fall for it left and right. You and your cryptos will soon part if you fall for any of that. Don't fall for it. Don't give anybody your private key or your seed phrase or anything. Be wary. You got to be smart, or you're going to be separated from your cryptos. All right, so that's my take on T Fuel. Obviously, this is at the Theta dashboard. You can track the Theta to Theta Fuel ratio. The highest ratio was 37, about 37 to 1, 37 T Fuel to 1 Theta. That has fallen dramatically, but now it's at 31. I think it's going to fall down to well below 20. Now here, because back here, this is April of 2024, it was 19. Is that, and I was saying back then, it just doesn't feel right. I think the true theta to T Fuel ratio should be 10, between 10 and 15. And as the AI portion grows, it could even get better than the 6 to 1. It could be kind of like silver to gold ratio, swapping, going past 1 to 1. So, yeah, I do recommend at this point, at 31 to 1, swapping your theta for T Fuel and then staking that T Fuel, and you make a much, much, much better return. As you can tell from, all you have to do is put in, let's say you have 1,000 theta. At 1,000 theta staking, which would be like 200 and what's the price? That'd be $210. All right, hold on. I'm gonna, because this is important for all you theta people. So it's $214 for, that's 100 theta. Hold on. Times, yeah, I know. 2,000 for 1,000 theta, it's $2,140. So divided by 0.068, which is the T Fuel price, at the same cost today, you will get 31,470 T Fuel. So you can check out the return difference. With T Fuel at 1,000, you're making 7 cents a day. These are the equal right now, the equal values. You're making 7 cents a day per year. you're making $25. So that's 2.58% is what you get for staking theta. And 40% of theta is staked. T-Fuel, on the other hand, you're making per year 15%. No. Sorry. This is on 2000. So this is per year would be 1.223. Just a little over 1% for staking theta. With staking T-Fuel, you're making about 7 or 8%. Oh, it's right here. Never mind. 7.4% right here. Elite T-Fuel forecast, you're making about 7. That's not the booster node. So when the booster node goes into like 25%, everybody's going to be trying to get a booster node. And it takes 500,000 T-Fuel to start a booster node, and then you can stake up to another 500,000. So go check that out at Theta Labs. When I'm ultimately, if I was heavy weighted on Theta or even had an equal amount of Theta, I'd swap Theta for T-Fuel and wait for that ratio to come back down at least below 20, but probably around 10 or below 10 over time. So that's my take on that. Up to you. Again, these are all the partners at Theta. It takes a lot for me to really recommend an investment in this world we live in. And that's how much I think Theta is a home run, because I've been screaming about it for a very long time. People who bought it when I was screaming about it at 4 cents have done very well. I'm still screaming about it at $2, and it will get to its all-time high probably during this run, which is $15, which is 7 times what it is right now. But I think it'll run past that, which it should, because how valuable is AI? How valuable is it cloud storage? I mean, we can't store all this data for AI. They're already running into problems. You either build gigantic data storage facilities, which they are, but they can't keep up. How about sharing everybody's hard drive capacity, excess hard drive capacity? That's the invention. That's the heart behind Theta. So currently for AI, the Theta team leverages the power of 30,000 distributed NVIDIA 3090s and 4090s nodes for inference and training. That's their own nodes that they're allowing to be used, and that's part of the booster node. 50 to 70% cost savings is huge, especially for universities. So, yes, I do think Theta is going into the thousands. It's $2 right now. In this run, I believe it'll hit the old all-time high. It's $14 or $15, and then go past that. There'll be a pullback, and if you're in it for the long run, like I hope you all are out there, at least till after the collapse of the old system, you're going to want these in your own possession only, by the way. Just like silver, in your own possession only. No, I do not recommend mining shares at all. I know they're massively undervalued. I know it. But I also know that when the system falls, you're not going to get that silver. You're not going to get that value out of that. No, Mexico would never give their precious metal after the collapse to foreigners, especially if you're a foreign investor. A lot of these silver mining companies are mining in Mexico. Oh, I have legal standing. You don't have shit. When the monetary system fails, it's what you got in your hands, and that's it. So don't waste your money on mining shares or ETFs, especially anything outside your own possession at this point in time. In the future, yeah, we'll be able to invest in that stuff, but that'll be after the collapse of the unbacked fiat monetary system. And here's T-Fuel. Again, it's already running again. What T-Fuel number? I think T-Fuel's all-time high was 50 cents. Let me see. All-time high was about almost 60 cents, so that's a 10x move. That could happen in a blink of an eye. And we've seen times like that, like right in here, when Theta literally, in a matter of days, jumped from like 14 cents to 40 cents. And you don't think, oh, so what, 40 cents? No. You think about your entire investment, what percentage did it rise? If you put $10,000, if you put $1 million into T-Fuel and you get 10% or 10x return, going back to its old all-time high, you're looking at what did I say? 10 million, 10x, or million, 10x is $10 million. You'll have made $9 million in a very short amount of time. This is not investing advice at all. I'm just telling you what has happened in the past, and I think it's going to happen again. I think Theta valued and ranked. Look at the Theta ranking at number 52 on the list. It was number 10, and 10 with a bullet and moving. It will get up to number. I think it'll be number 2 ultimately behind Bitcoin. Well, maybe behind Bitcoin and Veritasium, another story for another day if you've been following us. But Veritasium has the patent for DeFi, for smart contracts, the whole kit and caboodle. You definitely need some Veritasium. You can't buy it anymore, by the way, unless you trust these crazy exchanges that it's traded on, which I don't. And I don't think anybody could take delivery from a lot of these exchanges. That's the key. Yeah, you can buy it on any... They'll sell it to you, but can you take delivery into your own possession is the question. And I don't trust them. So we will see that. Let's take a look at Veritasium. Since we're spending all day here today. It's trading at $24, but look at the volume. $9,000. That's big volume. It's up 41%. $9,000. Think of Bitcoin. What's the Bitcoin volume these days? Let's just take a quick look at volume on Bitcoin. In the last 24 hours, $66 billion was bought and sold of Bitcoin. And Veritasium, on the other hand, is only at like $9,000. It's just insane. But if you go to markets, you can see it's really not traded anywhere but the Trade Ogre exchange, whatever that is. And maybe I did look it up, and there's pros and cons to it, supposedly. I don't know if you can pull very off of that exchange. Leave me messages in the comments if you are able to. I wouldn't trust them with anything sizable, and you can't buy anything sizable. I mean, look at what happens when people put $9,000 into Veritasium. I mean, you're jumping the price $4 on just a tiny amount of volume. So no, nobody can get any more for the most part. You can get 1 or 2, but it's probably the way they wanted it. If we're going to move to a decentralized system for everything, and there is a plan behind it, if there really is a plan behind it, and that's why they froze Reggie Middleton's, 98 million of the 100 million tokens are frozen with Reggie as a multi-sig signer. It could be that Cliff's data is right, and the U.S. government, after the collapse of the system, comes to Reggie and says, oh my God, we need to implement peer-to-peer trading on all the exchanges because all the middlemen have gone bankrupt, or just gone. Got wiped out in the derivative bubble. So that's where we are. That's what's going on. I know this is a long one. Go to roadrooter.com. If you want more on the conspiracy side, then there's plenty to talk about. I'll be posting this weekend my take on what's going on, like with the fires and with the good guys and bad guys, the inauguration. The guy Bissett that Trump has nominated as Treasury Secretary is a deep state guy. I mean, it should be obvious to anybody and everybody. So why would Trump put, for him, that's his most important position. He's all about the economic system. Why would he put the worst guy you could possibly put there unless he's setting him up for the crash? That's what I think he's doing. Anyway, this is Bix Weir. I'll talk to you later. Pay me my silver now.